You have your own natural genius that's different necessarily from me. You have a different approach to power. I did a video in which I was giving advice to young men in the 21st century, and I've been asked to do something similar for young women. Now, I don't want to come across as someone who's mansplaining, so please excuse me there. But I do have some ideas, and of course I'm coming from a male perspective, so you'll have to take that into consideration. One of the things that I think is really important, particularly in social media, so much pressure is put on young women about their image and their looks, and that it becomes like the primary value that people see in young women. And it's a very crushing feeling, I can imagine, to think that all you're valued for is your looks. I know in the past, whenever someone has judged me for my looks or my clothes, which doesn't happen very often as a man, I found it, ew, it's ugly. I don't like that. What's so important about it? I have other things that matter. So the thing is, you have something else that matters so much more than your looks and your image, and you need to key into that. And you need to continually tell yourself that your mind, your spirit, what you contribute to the world is infinitely more important than that image and that look. Now, it's easy for me to say that because still in the world, women are continually judged for their appearances and they're thought as hot or not hot. And, it's hard to let go of that because, it's where you get attention. But you need to divorce yourself from that and say that I want to cultivate a different quality that gets me attention. And I've noticed in my studies of history and in my observations of women, that women, and it's a generalization, so please excuse me and please forgive me for my mansplaining, but women have a different way of thinking than men. Now, this is hard to generalize because it crosses all kinds of gender boundaries, and there are plenty of men who have a more feminine mindset and women who have a masculine mindset, so please understand that. But I interviewed for Mastery several women scientists, and I noticed they had a different, more kind of holistic approach to looking at issues in science. It came from a different perspective, and it was the source of their power of creating something. I interviewed this woman, Yoki Matsuoka, for Mastery, who was a brilliant robotic engineer who came up with an incredible invention. And she had this more kind of interesting, holistic approach where she wasn't just looking at creating an arm, an artificial limb. She was looking at the whole body and how it operates. Women tend to see the larger picture. Men are more kind of focused in a narrower sense. And there's a good side to that, there's a disadvantage. But women tend to see the wider picture. They're also more attuned socially to what other people are thinking and feeling. Sometimes that's a bad thing, where you're too attuned to what people think about you, but it also makes you more empathetic. I wrote in The Laws of Human Nature about the female style of leadership, focusing on Queen Elizabeth I in England, and how it's a very, very powerful form of leadership. And I advise you to go look at that chapter and see what I was saying about that. I also have a chapter about gender and men and women and the different accessing for men their feminine side and for women their masculine side. The point of what I'm trying to say here is that you have your own natural genius that's different necessarily from me. You have a different approach to power. And some people have asked me to write a 48 Laws of Power for women. And I don't think I'll ever get there, unfortunately, because it would be too difficult for me to be able to do that. But you are dealing with different power issues. It's a lot harder for you because you're judged on higher standards. You do one small thing, if you're ever mean or something, people judge you negatively. But the point is that if you yourself value your thinking, your ideas, your creativity, where you contribute in the invisible realm that has nothing to do with appearances, the invisible realm, meaning the realm of ideas, even in a spiritual sense, that will be a value that will ground you in life as opposed to being lost in that hall of mirrors where everything is about appearances and image. So start your whole thing in life thinking, I'm not going to get lost in that. What I value more than anything else is my mind and developing it. And that's extremely important in this world where social media is dominating us. We all have like really bad values, but that is a really good value to hold on to and cultivate throughout your life.